Back on Morning Line, everyone, on this Tuesday. Josh Horn with us from the Social Security Administration. Good to have him on, and we're going to take your phone calls. 737-7587. Any questions you have about something you're dealing with the administration? Let's go. Start things off with Lee. Lee, good morning.
Good morning, Nick.
Hey, Lee.
There's two comments really two questions I'd like to ask the gentleman.
Okay.
Number one, on SSI. I've noticed quite a few people that I know that are elderly and everything. Every time they get a raise from the government, like $5, why do food stamps take $7 away from their food stamps? Because, you know, everything's increasing, but every time they get a simple thing like a $5 raise, food stamps drops $7 from their food stamps. And another question is, you talk about online filing for Social Security. The problem to me is straight out. On that computer, and I've seen and witnessed this many a time, where people sit outside and put a little antenna on top of their car, and they will sit there and take your information. I mean, it's a great idea, you know, and everything, but there's a flaw. The minute you put that Social Security number down on there, they'll have it. And our computer systems, you know, they're a great thing, but the problem is anybody can hack into them, especially your Social Security number when they file online. And I'll wait for his comments, Nick, and thank you and have a good morning.
You too, Lee. Thanks for calling.
Those are both great, good questions. The first one, unfortunately, I can't speak a whole lot to because the food stamps is through the state of Tennessee, and so I'm not even familiar with what their policies are and how they make their decisions on how much individuals get. So
on those public benefits, though, it's pretty clear, Social Security or between agencies, it's all interconnected in the sense that whenever your income or benefit sometimes changes in one, especially if it increases, it may mean you're going to get less somewhere else, because it's basically, there's a threshold, right? I mean, that's my observation, and you're right. I don't know with the state and the connection there, but you start getting more here, you're probably going to let less there.
The more common, thing that we see is with the Medicare at the end of the year with the COLA, and our COLA goes up this much, but Medicare premiums go up this much, and we see that. We've seen that several times over the last several years, and the decision in that example is that the decisions are made independently, and the Medicare costs, keep going up more than what the Congress decides the cost of living is. With the food stamps, it may be something similar, and I'm not sure how else to comment on that. Just like I said, because I can't speak for the state. I know that the SSI is all based on the poverty line and the decisions that the Congress makes at the end of the year. Your second question is a good question too, and it's concerning the security of our website.
Right.
And so the main thing that I could say is that we do value the security and take that extremely seriously. We use the latest encryption software and encryption features to make sure that is a safe and secure connection, so that you don't lose your data that you're putting in there, your number, things like that. But we also recognize that some folks are just not comfortable with that, and then there are also folks who they don't use computers well, or they don't, they don't. Right. It just doesn't work with them, and they don't want to deal with them, and so that's why we will continue to have that face-to-face or over-the-phone, service for you and for everybody who doesn't want to use online service. We're just trying to add more convenience for those who do want to take advantage of that, but also we're always available in the field office to help out whenever needed, and especially in circumstances where you're concerned about those kind of things.
There are other options, like you were saying. You don't have to use it, and some people just can't get past it. They don't have a trust of it, or maybe they're not comfortable. And I can say, but I can tell you, it'd be a huge story. I mean, I know there are breaches, and Social Security numbers sometimes get picked up through other crimes at other agencies or other businesses. But boy, it'd be a big story if they hacked into the Social Security database and got into it. And as far as I know, that hasn't happened. So
that's right.
Let's go to Tina. Tina, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Hi, Tina. How can we help you?
Well, I've had several people contact me from like disability companies and things like that, because I'm disabled and I'm having I suffer from panic and anxiety, and unfortunately I can't drive. That's like my biggest panic, you know, is if I get under the wheel of a car. Okay. My husband is fully disabled with back injuries and stuff, and for some reason I do not qualify for SSI or disability, and I don't understand that because they said that he makes too much. It has nothing to do with him. This is my own disability, you know? And I'm just not understanding that at all. I had this disability before I ever met him.
And what do you mean he makes too much? Meaning that his benefit is too much, and because he's drawing as much as he is, and you're married, you're not able to qualify yourself, is what you're saying.
Right. And I mean, I have my own bills, my own, you know. So what do I do in a situation like that, or is it nothing you can do?
Okay.
Unfortunately, there are individuals like yourself who are kind of caught in this area where because your husband's either drawing benefits, or sometimes, you know, he or she is working, and so in the SSI program we have to look at the income of the entire household, in particular the spouse, and so that is what they call deemed income, that does affect your eligibility for SSI. That's just part of the rules because it's that needs-based program. And then as far as Social Security, that's again based on your work and how much you've paid in. So I'm kind of assuming that you either didn't have enough paid in or you hadn't worked recently before you became disabled from working. And so we do see folks come in who are kind of caught in that catch-22.
So did she say he was on SSI or Social Security disability?
I think she just said Social Security, so I'm assuming that it's...
Because if it was SSI, I mean, I don't see why they both couldn't get it, because the max he'd be getting $700, right?
Yeah.
And then she should be getting some too.
I'm assuming it's Social Security because if it was SSI, she should be able to get something.
Because they both need, but he may be taking so much that he... And you're right, it is amazing, the threshold. It's not a lot of money, but it can all of a sudden exclude you from that. So there's not much she can do if they've looked at the formula and he's drawing too much.
That's right.
Okay. All right, let's go to Brian. Hi, Brian.
Hey, I bet Tony T and the ad system don't pay into Social Security.
Who?
The Tony T ad system, they're working out. I thought that was pretty funny. Hey, listen, I want to ask them a question.
Dude.
When you go in to retire, I think you can do it when you're 62, and if you have a little bit of other income, will they not ask for your tax returns the last 3 or 5 years, where they just automatically just take your number and plug it in and figure it out? Because I sort of had it figured out already. It wasn't that much. It's pretty good, I guess, to say, compared to most, about $1,843 or something like that. They said if I waited until I was 65, it would be over $2,000. So I don't know what to do. What do you think about that?
Yeah, there is an interface with IRS so that your earnings information does come over, and we actually encourage folks to go onto their My Social Security account and take a look at their earnings record ahead of time to make sure that everything's correct. And there's a lot fewer mistakes and issues than there used to be, but occasionally there are some, and we want to get those straightened out before you're actually ready to retire. But a lot of times folks will come in ready to retire 62, 65, 66, whenever, and we'll look over their earnings record, and if there's a discrepancy, that's when we usually ask for tax returns or things like that. The other time we might ask for tax returns, if you come in January, February, and you want last year's earnings counted on there, if we have some kind of proof like a W-2 or your tax returns, we can get those added on there when you file the claim. So yeah, that's kind of the long and the short of how that works, the interface.
All right, let's go next to Peter. Hi, Peter.
Hey.
Hey.
Yes, I was calling because I got SSI.
Okay.
And recently I just had to move from a place that I was staying in, and I couldn't really, they wouldn't take care of the house, and so I had to move out so I could find another place. And when I moved to my brother's, and the Social Security said they were turn my check down to $490 for next month. And I don't know how can I live off of the $490? I can't even get a place to stay with $490. A deposit is more than $490.
Yeah, how much was he getting? Yeah, they cut him down from the 700 something, right?
So a lot of times when you move in with family members or friends or things like that, and you're not helping with the household expenses, if they're just kind of helping you out for a little while, but there's no plan to repay them or anything like that, we have to we have to basically deem that some money's being gifted to you, because if they're giving you food and they're giving you shelter and electricity and water and all that kind of stuff, then it's considered a gift. And we use this year it's $265 is the value of that if you're not paying. Now, if you work out with your brother, it's like, hey, look, I'm going to start paying my fair share, and you guys figure out what that fair share is, and you're paying that from your SSI, and we can get a statement from your brother or whoever you're staying with to that effect. We can usually take away that $265, but that's again because you've got an agreement that you're going to be paying your fair share and how much it is, and so on and so forth. So that's.
Do you get a window into that though? I mean, in terms of before that kicks in, he was in a place they weren't caring for the house. He's like, I'm getting out of here. It's a dump, all right? And then he's like, okay, I don't have another place yet, but I'm moving out now. I'm going to stay with my bro for a few weeks, or as long as it takes for me to find another apartment. I guess how do you guys find out he's even done that? I mean, I'm not suggesting fraud here, that he not tell something he shouldn't, but heck, if I was moving for 2 weeks, I'm not going to let you know. Right. I'm going to just do it, and then I'm going to find my new place instead of go through this headache of, you know, so I don't know, maybe he asked for the checks to be mailed to a different address or something. How would you even know he's staying with his brother?
Well, it is part of your reporting responsibilities when you draw the SSI program to report any kind of changes in your in where your residence.
But I mean, but if you're just going for like it's an oasis pit stop until you can find your next place, and I'm talking about for a short period of time. If I'm doing that for 1 or 2 weeks, I ain't calling you.
Well, the problem is a lot of times you may think it's going to be 1 or 2 weeks, but it may end up being longer. And so again, the reporting responsibilities is you call and you let us know as soon as you move and change, and then you call us back
immediately
when you move back into your own place. And if it's only for a week or two, then it may not have any effect on your check. But if
you're staying there longer,
on a week or two, and then it doesn't work out, and you have to stay there 3 or 4 months, then it's better to go ahead and rather than getting overpaid.
But that would be fraud because you know you're collecting when you're not paying as much as what you guys think. So not everyone on SSI is not necessarily getting the full $700.
That's right. That's right. Depending on the other income, or if you're being considered gifted, like people are gifting you rent or place to stay and things like that, that could affect your benefit amount.
So the bottom line is, if he finds a way to say that yes, I'm paying my brother temporary rent until I find a new place, and you notify you, then that maybe would restore the amount. Because it does put him in kind of a pickle down lower now to that $400. He may not have the means to even put a deposit down, I don't know, on a new place. That is even on SSI, moving into a new place, I don't even know how anyone does it with a full amount of SSI. When you think about first and last month's rent, sometimes the deposits for utilities, all of that, that's rough. That's rough. So, but that explains it. I understand what you're saying. That all of a sudden meant you're being gifted a new place to live for free, unless you can find a way to show that you're paying something there. Okay, let's go next to Pat. Pat, good morning.
Good morning. I got a question to ask. My sister lived with her husband for 6 years, which they was not married, okay? And then 5 months ago, they decided to get married before he died. Why can't she get his check?
So she got married. She got married.
So they weren't married very old. Yeah, they weren't.
And he passed away. There is I believe it's a 1-year duration of marriage requirement for survivor benefits. However, sometimes in certain circumstances we can waive that 1 year. So you said this was for your sister. I mean, I'd have her call her local office.
She has. She's been over there and everything trying to get his check. She got a widow pension check, but she can't get his check.
Oh, okay. So she's drawing on his record, but she can't get his check, and that's just so. When somebody passes away, I mean, they don't. It's no longer their check. I mean, they don't have a check anymore. I'm having trouble explaining it because it just kind of goes away. But she's drawing on his record as a widow, so that's basically how the program is set up. That she can draw off of his record as a widow, but he doesn't get a check unless he's alive.
Okay, so it's confusing. So the bottom line is she's not going to be able to get. I guess the reason she wants to do that is his check was more money.
Well, she should be pretty much drawing his
close to the same amount
or close to it. I mean, that's what the widow's program is. It's not. You're not technically drawing his check, but you're drawing on his record and pretty much drawing that amount, depending on how old you are when you start, when you apply and things like that. Now, a lot of the times the questions we get is, well, why can't I draw off of my own record and the widow's? They want 2 checks, and that's typically it's an either or. I mean, it is an either or.
You choose the
most money. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it's a tough one. Let's take a break. When we come back, Amy, Sue, Debbie, and others. We've got some lines open for Josh. We're going till 9 o'clock. Give us a call. We'll be back with more right after this.